Hey guys, Rick Shaw here. It's the 30th of March 2021, and we got kind of a nice day. We got the Tudor mobile there, and breezy, if you can see by those bushes. It's sun comes out, it'll bake you, but you know there's enough clouds to make it intermittent sunshine. So and then that cool breeze hits you. So it's really a nice, pleasant day today. Yesterday, it didn't seem as busy as normal, but what my wife was saying, it was a thing called Maudie Monday here. Today, I noticed that a lot of the workmen are back working in here. Deliveries are going on as normal. I don't see anything different. The food deliveries, the deliveries for packages and all that stuff is going on. We don't have plans to go out anywhere today, as of now anyway, but from what I'm hearing from these different people, they don't see much of a big change. I guess there's a couple checkpoints set up, but maybe you can't leave the province. I'm not sure. I don't need to even try. If I hear anything from my brother-in-law about, right close to us, there's a river, and they got it right on the river. They have a checkpoint that we went through last time. Nobody was running. Hi, handsome.
Hello.
And, I'll let you know if anything's up with that, if we hear anything. But as of now, it don't seem like there's too big of a change. Just seems to me most of the people we talk to aren't buying it. Some of it's going to go on. They got this alphabet soup thing that they call all this. And I saw a thing on the Inquirer that put out that there's an MGQ in one area till the 4th, and an MSNB QSDSY on another one, and a QMDFFU on this other one till the 30th, and it's just all a big hodgepodge mix-max that nobody's really understanding. I don't even think these enforcers know. Now, last night, we watched a movie, and everybody fell asleep, but my boy Matty, he was sitting there with me, and about 10:30, the movie ended. He stayed up with me, and I felt like going for a walk, and he was wide awake. He wanted to come too, so we went out and started walking up and down the streets here, and a patrol come by, and 4 officers in there, and we didn't see a mask on any of them, and they come driving by us, and we saw the lights, so we didn't try to shy away from them. We just kept walking the way we were going, and when they went past us, I just waved at them and said, "Hey, fellas," and they all waved back and went about their way. So I'm not sure what the point of all this is. It just seems really odd to me. A lot of things seem odd to me. I saw a dang thing that somebody took. It was on YouTube, not YouTube, but it was on Facebook, and it showed them their trip at the airport, and how there was these big circles where they had to separate, and the lines were stretched out for a mile, and they couldn't get close to each other, and they had to have a mask and face shields. They showed pictures of everyone wearing face shields, and then they showed everybody on the plane all packed in there, of course, on planes like sardines. So I'm not understanding, what the point is of that. Why did they do that to these same people? They're getting on the planes, they separate them in the airport, but not on the plane. I'm just not getting it. Now they got this big thing where nobody can come in and out of this country. But they had quarantines before where you came in, you had to do a quarantine. I just don't understand. It seems like somebody wants to shoot themselves in the foot. That's what, I just don't know. When I put things out there, it's because a lot of times I'm questioning it. Like I questioned about the stick coming in, and some guy got on there, "Oh yeah, you're way out there, blah blah blah." Well, why are they doing that? That's my question. It just seemed to me like it was something being implanted. Watch the video, but why? And then somebody comes there, "Oh well, it has to be because they got to get the whole nasal." Well, what for? If you can sneeze and infect a whole pile of people, that seems like that would have got it all the way from the back. So what's the swab thing for? It's just ridiculous. Make somebody sneeze on a swab. That should do it. But I do believe there's just so many false positives right now, and now this Fuji, he's coming out there and saying there's a new strain that can't be detected and you have absolutely no symptoms. You gotta love these people. They're just gonna keep this fear porn going. I mean, they're just not gonna stop it. Our tutor got in today. Kids are studying, and I'm glad to see it. She's pushing them along, so that they, their brains are sponges now. And I want to get them as much information. We want to definitely teach them about the civics here, and also I'll teach them what's going on in my country. I'm hoping that I can get a good load of books sent here. I don't believe when it comes to books they tear from or anything, so I'm trying to get some folks to send me some good civics books and stuff like that. Anybody wants to help out, that'd be great, but I'm trying to see who can send me some. I got one buddy that said he has some old ones. I had given them to him in the past. My aunt worked at a book factory before the school books in the U.S. were corrupted. She worked in a book factory she worked there from the 50s. And when they would get these blems because a page wasn't cut right or something like that, it still had all the stuff in it, she'd put it out. And she saved those, and she gave me a bunch of them. I actually gave some when my kids were in private school, and I said, hey, can you guys teach this? And I gave them the books, and they were like, oh wow, can we have them? And I said, hang on, I'll let you know in a couple days, but take them for now. And then my aunt said, oh sure, I got more. I got a whole basement full. And so I let that school have them. And then I had a buddy I gave some to. She told me I could go down in her basement and take out however many I want. And I cherry-picked a bunch and took 5 and 6 copies. And I gave a set to my buddy whose kids are all grown. They're the same age as my older batch. And he said, yeah, I'll see if I can find a deal on sending them. I told him about the Billick buying boxes. Maybe he could do that. And he said he'll look into it. But if not, I'm willing to pay him. I know I had something sent here one time before and it cost me like $150. Not just because the shipping was that, because when it got here in the Philippines, they charged me, I think it was 4,000 pesos or almost 4,000. They hit you really hard with stuff here. Everybody's got to take their cut. Hello, Mr. Handsome. Oh, well, thank you, mister. My little generous boy here. That is my biggest, he's just a sweet kid. Every time we go to bed at night, he's always got a hand on me, and if I wake up in the middle of the night, even if I got to just go pee, he's up on his feet. Oh, are you going somewhere? He always wants to go wherever I go, and he's got a hold of my heart like you wouldn't believe. They say you're not supposed to have favorites, but I've always said it's not because he's my favorite. It's because I'm his. I am his favorite person on the planet, and that is a gift that it just keeps giving. I mean, I just can't believe what a tender-hearted, beautiful human he is, period. He's a gift from the Lord above. And the other ones are very huggy too, very huggy. Moo, he's my little smart aleck. I'll say, hey, where's my hug, bub? And no. Oh, okay. I got to make a sad face, and then he'll come over and start laughing and give me a big hug. He's the one who has the quickest brain. He is really something. Dorothy, she's our studious ones. She's keeps her I's dotted and her T's crossed, and they're just a gift. I talked to one fella was in the military, said he just never had them because of the military life and all that. But me, I for one, this is the job that I'm glad the good Lord gave me. These babies, they're the most important earthly thing now, and I want to teach them. I'm teaching them all I can. I'm just going to keep teaching them. My daughter and I went for a walk. She wanted to go just with me, and the boys were inside doing their schoolwork, and we went for a walk, and we had a big discussion on density and how air was a fluid, about not opening the fridge door and letting all the cold air pour out because we got to cool the air again. That's why I bought this fridge, and we had a walk where we hit 3 or 4 streets and just discussed this stuff. And she was asking great questions. I mean, for a 7-year-old to ask these questions, some people say, "Oh, well, your kids are just smarter." No, it's because I engage them. I engage these kids constantly. I want them to think, and I want them to think for themselves too. A lot of stuff I put out there on here is just to get you to think, guys. And may it be off the wall a little bit? Sure, sometimes. A lot of the stuff. I don't buy everything that's going on. I get somebody say, "Oh, you're just a QAnon and a Trumpster and all this stuff." Well, something? There's a lot of things. Like when Trump signed that $2.2 to $2.6 trillion thing. I was so dead against that. It wasn't funny. I just looked at that and say, part of the group. I don't know what goes on inside of his head with a lot of things that are going on because we're not up in his position. But like this QAnon, I don't know why somebody would tag me with that. I posted some of their stuff that I thought was interesting and let people look at it. But I'm one for getting ideas out and let you think about them. But I get a lot of people that, "You're a stinking nutbag." You wouldn't believe how many comments I've just deleted as soon as they came in. When the foul language starts, my daughter knows which ones to delete right away. She'll tell me what they say. "Yeah, get rid of it." You just automatically say someone's a nutbag. I get people though that I'll say, "Yeah, you're just liberal and there's no talking to you." Some of them I've just done blocked them. There was a couple of them here. The one woman was going on how she was trying to justify abortion, and it's murder. I said, okay, let's say I'm with a woman and she decides to murder a child that she's carrying. Fine, then give the man the right also, not just to murder her. Hey, if we're going to just allow murder, let's have it all. If she ticks me off, let me go ahead and murder her too. I mean, it's just murder. That's what they're saying. It's just a fetus. It's just this. It's just that. It's just tissue. Well, guess what? You're just tissue. You're just a big old bag of minerals. Hey, come on. Give me the same right. I get tired of you. Let me go ahead and do you in. And she got so frustrated, this woman, And I wound up talking to her through some woman that wrote on there that she had 21 abortions. Oh my goodness. And they always go to the rape thing. What if somebody's got raped? Okay, I'm going to hit you again with some reasoning, guys. So if my neighbor across the street robs me, do I kill the other neighbor who's completely innocent? Of course not. So because one person did a bad thing to somebody else, you murder the innocent one out of the 3? Guys, just give me a break. No, thank you. I'll take it, but I don't want it for now. I'll hold it for later. Thank you.
That looks like Mario.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. What do you call it? He's got a little tiny pellet of some sort.
No, this is Mario.
Oh, it's Milo pellets. I don't particularly like all that stuff. Ovaltine pellets. Let's see what the bag says. Oh my goodness, the list of ingredients. Let's not, I hope we don't get too much more of this stuff. I don't know why we even have it, but we do. Don't like these kids getting things like that in their body, but sometimes mom just goes hog wild with this stuff, so I don't mind them having gum. But I even watch the ones that they get there. I've seen some of these gums got so much stuff in it, so much crazy stuff that I don't even know what it is. And I just worry about them getting a lot of things in their body. I don't want them to start pumping sugar and all this garbage down, so that's what they do their whole life. You have to teach them. We do so much in fruits here, it isn't funny. And like one thing that I'm really happy about, whenever we'll chop a huge watermelon. We found a guy that gives us a real good deal on watermelons here. It's basically what he sells in his store. He gets nothing else, just watermelons, and he is the watermelon dude. But we went ahead and we get those. I like to put them in the fridge to give them a little cold, and then we'll cut a whole thing up, and before you know it, it's all gone. I mean, these kids just go nuts over the watermelon, and I want them to eat that. We go through bananas like you wouldn't believe, apples, pears, oranges, mangoes. Mangoes are another one. As many as I put out there, they'll sit there. Little Moo will eat 3 or 4 of them if I let them. Huh? You like mango?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
How about can I see?
Yeah, you can see, but don't touch, please. That's the bag of tricks. But we don't touch any of that stuff in there, right, mister?
Where's the mayo?
Oh, I don't know. You'll have to go find it.
Do you eat it now?
Huh?
Do you eat it?
Yeah, all gone. Yeah, I got chewing tobacco. I guess that's my candy. Anybody who comes here that you guys that we're going to wind up meeting anyway, if they ever do open this place up and you're able to get in, if anybody wants to put a bag or 2 of mail pouch in their carry-on, or even what is it, beech nut, the red striped bag. I hate the wintergreen. You want to put that in there, I'll gladly pay you for it when I see you. It's hard to get here. There's a place called Fuma it's the only place I found with chewing tobacco. If anyone else knows chewing tobacco here in this country, let me know. But Fuma wants 800 pesos for a bag of Red Man, which I'm not into the Red Man very much. It's basically a leafy candy. It's so filled with sugar, and I don't. It's not the one I really like. I did buy one time just for a birthday present to myself. One bag, I paid $16 for it, 800 pesos at the time, and I just don't want to pay that. I went for years without chewing at all, but my buddy Scott, thanks buddy, sent me a whole case. I've had other times where I got a whole case, and I just like chew. I'm doing it very sparingly. And it's just something that, hey guys, I've been chewing since I was 7 years old, and I always liked it. I used to always get a little chopped off piece from my grandpa. He had what they called bee twist that he would get anytime somebody came when he was living on the eastern coast. Anytime somebody would come from Missouri, they'd bring him cases and cases. His boys, my uncles and stuff, aunts would come and bring him cases and cases, and he always had his little jackknife. I have it here today. And he'd cut a piece off, and he'd always give me a little itty bitty piece, And I was also the stores. He loved Days of Work plug. That's okay. That's good. I'll save this for another time. Okay. Why don't you put it in the fridge for me? In the little door. And I used to always make the store trips for us back in the day when when a kid could go to the store and buy a beer for somebody, or a bottle of gin, or when I was real young, they had the local markets that would do that. They actually will do that here too in a lot of little stores. Kids will go up and get their dad a smoke or something like that, and the stores don't think nothing of it. They know the kid's not smoking it. But the sad thing here too, I saw a group of young boys. Some of these kids are older than they actually look, but they all looked like they were 10 or 12, and the way they were acting, kind of 10 or 12-ish, and all of them were smoking. And that's something that I don't smoke. I don't want the kids to see that, because then they think it's okay. I'm not one of these do as I say, not as I do kind of people. I try to lead these little ones by example, and it's just a good way to do it. I learned by example from a lot of people. I knew some people that would tell you one thing and their life was a shambles. So I learned very quickly as a young man not to follow their way. I remember when I was very young, there was a German fellow that came in, and I wasn't very old, about 10 years old, and he was talking about the socialism in Germany. We get this, and it's so wonderful, and all blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, the taxes are pretty high, too. They get all this free stuff. Well, not as free. And I asked him, I looked at him after he was spewing all this stuff, and me being reasonable even for a 10-year-old, I said, well, if you get all that stuff, who pays for it? And he just didn't know what to say. He just was, and I remember one of my elders was nearby, and when he couldn't answer me and I walked away, he said, that's pretty much, you hit the nail on the head with that. You're smarter than your years. And it's just questions. I've always been somebody to question everything. And also, when I was a kid, I was always taking everything apart. I wanted to see why it worked and what it worked. And a lot of people, it really gets me. I posted something on my Facebook page, and I got a lot of comments on it, but it said, you may have a bachelor's degree, but you could still be an idiot. Just because another thing that was posted, just because somebody isn't a rancher or a farmer, they still know what BS is. You don't got to have all these degrees and all this crap to have some sense in your head. Another fellow sent me, if you have 2 brain cells in your head, you can figure things out. Guys got to start using your own heads about all this stuff that's going on. Make decisions based on what you believe. That's what free men do. And they're just conditioning us continually for the last year now not to be free. And they just keep bringing it in steps. When it don't work, they'll let it go for a while. We're going to allow you to be free for a little bit, and then they're going to shut you down again. They're just going to keep doing this. And personally, yeah.
Dorothy say you hide Dorothy's cameras.
Yeah, well, something, you're not going to get it, I said. It's not going to happen right now because I don't want it getting busted. You run around with it way too much, and you put it somewhere where I couldn't find it yesterday. And then you said you didn't put it there when we found it. So I don't know what's going on. So right now it's put away, and it's not a toy to be played with, okay? All right, thanks. All right, well, we had a little camera issue yesterday. I was letting him use the camera, but he was a little bit too cavalier with it, so we don't want it broke. If it gets dropped, I don't like the cameras where the lens pops out, because I had one of those. The first one I ever bought, it took great pictures and everything, but I had it in my pack, and the button on it was just a little bit too easy to push, and it pushed, and it smashed the mechanism. Now, the guy at the camera store, he knew me very well. He said, look, it's a $60 camera, and it's going to cost $80 to fix. And he just took it and gave me another one, which was just fantastic. You talk about customer service there. But I just made it a point I don't want to buy those anymore. I got it for Dorothy because when it comes to her stuff, she's very careful. And we had a talk last night about she didn't want him to have it because she was afraid he was going to break it. So it's hers. It's her camera. She puts it in her stuff. She has to hide it, and that's fine. That was her birthday present, and she's learning how to take better pictures. We actually sit and play with it and go through the menu and show her the different things. She knows the zoom. She knows how to set the flash for, if she's in sunshine, to have a flash on there so you don't get dark spots, so she can take pictures with the sun behind people, and it comes out good. We played with it. I had her take a picture of me with no flash, with the sun behind me, and then one with the flash, and she, that's much better. I said, okay, you need how to learn to work that then, and when to use it. And it actually has, it doesn't have the full range of controls on it, but it does have like an aperture type priority. And I'm teaching her how she can get the background to come into focus, or to have the background blurred when you put it in that only one manual mode that it has. And she's learning. When I was young, I had an uncle that left me a bunch of photography equipment, and I learned how to use it. He had a book in there that had notes on basically it was a course on camera, and handwritten, that he had in there, that he had learned from just, this is 100-year ago stuff. And he had big cameras that you could twist the lens to get focused on side views. He took portraits. He took some of the most beautiful pictures you ever seen, and I learned from that. And I was doing portraits for people, weddings. I actually had I took a picture one time of my niece. And that was in the middle of the city, but the picture, you can make a picture what you wanted. So it looked like she was in the middle of the country, and she was in her mother's old white chore coat and a pair of those snap galoshes, the ones that have the adjustment with the big metal snaps on them and stuff. And they were like her dad's. And she was standing in a mud puddle, and she had mud in her hair and everything. And I took a picture of that, and it won a national competition. So, and I got a prize for that. I actually got a prize. It wasn't a money prize. It was film. I think it was through Seattle Filmworks. They gave me it was like 100. They came out with a funny amount, 144 rolls of their film with free developing and all this, 35 millimeter film. So that was really cool. They even had little envelopes for each. You had to send in 2 canisters of 36 exposure in each bag. They didn't want 1, they wanted 2, and then I would get all the pictures developed back, and then down the road I learned how to develop my own. I had a Nikon with a 250 data back, and I started developing my own stuff, had a little darkroom set up, and really got into photography, but I got out of it when I got ripped. I went and was doing a wedding for family members, and I traveled a good way, and I says, look, I'll do your weddings. There was 2 weddings in a row. I said, I'll travel all the way here, just pay my gas, and I'll charge you just what it cost me in materials for the paper and all that stuff. And then when I went to give the books, they said, oh, we don't have the money, and their dad said, hey, don't worry, we're good for it. So I gave it to him and never saw a dime of that. So basically that wound up wrecking it for me. There wasn't the money in it, so I just got out of it. But I do love it. I do love to do photography. The new digital cameras, if you want to spend a lot of money, it's always been expensive, a very expensive hobby. I tried to do it professionally, but it basically was a hobby for me, and it was just kind of expensive. I feel sad that I lost all my photo albums, but I had so many photo albums, and I got an X-Acto set for a gift one time. So what I did was I just cut out a lot of the people and just started putting them in different places in the photo albums, and I took about 15 photo albums and turned them into 4, and I had pictures of all my cars and bikes and all that stuff, and pictures of my grandfather and grandmother. I never cut those pictures up, especially the older ones. I put them in there. They were like a centerpiece, and I would put pictures around it of everybody. And but I lost those. I wish I could have them back. I think my daughter has them now, so I guess it's going to be okay. It was a lot of fun doing it. I sure would like to have them here, so I could show these kids stuff that went on. Because before I ever came here, I had a huge life before I ever got here. I'd love to show them some of the cars I had and all this stuff, the bikes. I had that in 2010. I had that bought a Dyna Fat Bob, and got the thing home, drained the oil. I went through a company called NHRS. I think they were out of New England, and I told them what I wanted. I wanted a bike that would just be a streetable, fastest thing in SoCal. And they said, okay. And I went back and forth with them for months, and I got their entire kit. These guys were dragsters and land speed records and all on Harleys and stuff. And I didn't go with the BMW double overhead cam motor. I went with the regular pusher 96 motor. And I was even asking them at the time, they were talking to 103 kits and all that, and they said, no, you just go with this 96. It's a good motor. It was the 88 stroker. And they said, that's what you want. That's the one you're going to develop the most power cheap. And it got a bigger one-piece crank instead of the put-together pieces. And I put nitrous. I went with Thundermax for the thing, and it had 2 O2 sensors for each bank. I could watch the fuel. It was a self-learning, and I could run nitrous and the blower. I had a laptop in the back. You could change. I just had the 150 shot of nitrous, but I could also change very quickly the pressure on the blower when I was just riding it every day. The nitrous was off. I had the bottle there, but the nitrous was off, and I had it tucked away so you couldn't hardly see it. And then the blower was just out there, and I could set it down to about 8 pounds, or I could go all the way up to 20. I had cast iron cylinders on there, flathead forged titanium pistons and rods, H-beam rods on. I had so much stuff in that, and I spent a weekend putting her all together, and then did a break-in thing. But I could get on the highway and it could cruise. This dang thing would cruise at 130, just smooth as could be. The limiter for 150 I never took off, even though I put better tires on it. I had some really good tires on there from Japan, and it just would cruise, and you could, from 130 to 150 was just a twist of a throttle in any gear, and this thing just pulled out and boogied. If I had the nitrous on the high beam, I had it tied into the high beam switch, so if I put my high beams on, it would arm the nitrous as long as I had the bottle open, and then as soon as it hit full throttle, it would just dump that thing. And I'm not kidding you, the first time I had it, I had to go out and buy a special seat to help hold me in, and I also got rid of, well, I didn't get rid of the forward pegs, I just added center pegs that I had back as far as I could, and I had a linkage connecting. I had the air shifter on it. I just had this cool stuff. I had $18,000 that I bought the bike for, and I had another 18 or so thousand into it. Biggest amount was the blower. I got a really good deal from NHRS, and at the time I had that bike, even Hayabusas and stuff would pull up, and this thing just bit the ground so hard and was just gone. It was just boom, boom, boom. Just gone, and it was bulletproof. The only problem I had was I had an oil line come loose one time because I didn't Loctite it. Just missed it, and I had a little bit of oil coming out, and I got home and I looked at it, and sure enough I didn't Loctite it, so I cleaned it all up and put it all back together, and that was the only problem. I did shred the first belt. My fault, because I lengthened the swing arm. I had that kicked out. I had the front edge extended, and then I had the progressive shocks put on the back to raise it up for me. And when I put the extended swing arm on there, it didn't. I didn't have the belt tight enough, and I shredded the belt as soon as I fired the nitrous. It was fine until I fired the nitrous, and it just shredded it. So I had to replace the belt. And other than that, the belt held up. I didn't have any problems. The thing was way up off the ground. Had to do an extended kickstand, but it was something that you didn't notice. I also had where I could lock my shocks and put a wheelie bar on it. But just on the street, I didn't need to. You could bring the front end up anytime you wanted, but if I was really shitting and getting, I would just stand on the rear pegs when I hit the gas before the nitrous came on, because it pulled like a freight train, and I would just throw all my shoulders up over the handlebars and just ride it. I mean, just like being on a bucking bronc. This thing just bit, and you could actually steer it in the lane just by throwing the weight, even though the front wheel wasn't on the ground. It just was a super fun vehicle. But my favorite vehicle I ever had was the Buell Ulysses. I don't care what anyone says. I had a buddy that sent me a bunch of stuff about the Brogue, and Lawrence of Arabia had them, and at the time, that was his favorite machine. And yeah, very cool. But my favorite machine of all times was just that Buell Ulysses. All the cool stuff that Eric Buell did to that bike. It was absolutely fantastic, with the oil in the swing arm, getting weight, a little fuel in the frame, airbox where the tank should be, a servo-activated exhaust. That was the only bike I ever had where I never changed anything on it. I just didn't want to, I just left it the way it was. It was absolutely my favorite bike. I learned how to do the twisties in Southern California through the mountains on it. Just absolutely the finest machine I've ever been on. And I had a supercharged dyno, guys. I had some nice machines. I had some Suzuki 1000s, 1100s, Kawi 1000, Kawi 900. I had just tons of bikes. But here, I like the little ones. I'm not 100% sure on what I'm going to get, but that WR155R, the more I talk to people, the motor is just fantastic. I've been a Yamaha guy. I love the XS11. I had brothers that had them all. Just fantastic bikes. My oldest brother had the VMAX, and that was something. I actually was on the back of that one time where he rode a wheel stand for almost 500 feet from a light. He had nitrous on his tucked up under the tank, so you couldn't see it. He had it all custom, but you couldn't see it. It was hidden. and he had his arm and switch. I don't remember what switch he was using, but boy, when that kicked in, that thing come up, and we were both trying to lean forward to tame that beast. But that's one guy that I don't like to get on the back of the bike with anybody, but out of all the riders I've ever been, my oldest brother, I would get on the back of a bike with him anytime, because he is one of the best riders I've ever seen. He can make them go fast, but you're not scared. You know, it's just he knows what he's doing. And and I don't know what bike he has now. Maybe he'll get on here if he sees this and put a comment on what he's driving now. But absolutely, he's had some really nice bikes. I remember one time he was at a bar, and he had this 103 back in the day. This is way back, and he had open pipes on. I remember he went down the street, and we heard him from a mile away. That thing was loud. My goodness, I've never been one for the loud machines, but you know, I always liked them quiet. I like them like a singer-sewing machine. Well, I guess I better go. The boy spoke, so you guys all take care. Just wanted to chew the fat with all you guys today, and love getting all the comments, guys. It's been a blast. Bye bye. There's our tutor girl. She's got to go, and she tutors some more folks. Her sweetie that he's talking about coming back early from his stint in Arabia. We were talking about it, and he only makes about 135 to 140,000 running heavy equipment in Arabia, and he can make that here. She says she makes that here. So, you know, I hope that things work out for them. And he seems like a very nice fella. You know, he's a good worker, and you know, he's actually is a printer by trade. I'm thinking he could set up a business and do much better. But the boy, my youngest, said rickshaw out, so I'm gonna let you go. Don't forget to pray for each other, and hope you enjoy our chats.
Bye bye.
Thank you, sweetheart.